Yo, what is going on, guys? This is Beanie, and today we are going to be counting down the top 10 second basemen currently available in the game, and holy crap, this was a tough list to put together. Second base is an incredibly thin position so far this year, and man, I don't know, it's there just aren't very many good ones. There are maybe like 4 or 5 that I would consider like elite. And then after that, it gets pretty brutal. But anyways, oh, and just a reminder, guys, I said this in my last video, I think, but like it didn't register with a lot of people. I got a lot of comments like, where was Miggy? Where was Edgar on the first base thing? Because that's one of their secondaries. But one of the criteria for this list is they have to have either first or second base or whatever as their primary position. And if they have secondaries and stuff like that, I may talk about it a little bit if I feel like it's a, they're like a good utility player or something. Sorry, I can't talk. But if you don't see like the 82 Jackie Robinson, who I agree is great at second base, but if you don't see him in this list, that's the reason why. It's because primarily he's a first baseman and he's not a second baseman. So, with all that being said, guys, let's get into this list that was insanely tough to put together. Alrighty, guys, coming in at number 10 is the live series Ben Zobrist, the 85 overall. And there are a few things that kind of put him on this list. One, he has insane, positional variety. He can play anywhere up the middle, second, shortstop, center field, and he can play both corner outfield spots. So that's very, very valuable maybe to have on your bench. And who knows, maybe even to start him, like if you have a hole somewhere in your lineup that you need to fill with a good, solid player. Ben Zobrist is a guy that can do that. And he has good defense, like, 83 fielding, 76 reaction, not a terribly strong arm, but not a weak arm. And his hitting is solid across the board. He's not spectacular. He has great contact versus lefties, but he's just solid. And that 83 vision really makes all the other things kind of play up because it'll increase the size of his PCI. Another thing people wanted me to talk about is quirks. Just a note on quirks. Flashback players do not have active quirks, meaning that they don't have any quirks that affect gameplay at all. All they are is indicative of like if they have really, if they're really good at a particular attribute. Like Ben Zobrist has Walker right here, which means he has great plate discipline, but that doesn't actually affect anything in game. And all flashbacks are like that. Live series players are the only ones that I've personally seen that have active quirks. Coming in at number 9 is Dustin Pedroia, the 88 overall live series version. And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of this card. I know he has good defense and he can get on base at a pretty high clip. There are a few things about him that I just don't like. One is he's a little shorter than your average player, and whenever you use strike zone cam, short players can be kind of a burden because it kind of squeezes their PCI and makes it tough to judge a few things. He doesn't have a lot of power or anything, but the things that he does well, he does everything but power, and I guess he has a little speed too. But, everything, he does it pretty well, but not great. He does have pretty good defense. I wouldn't say, I don't know, maybe you consider 89 with 80 reaction elite. But I think it's just really, really good. And his contact, is okay, 86, 73. His 87 vision, though, is a big bonus. And that's kind of what gave him the edge over Zobrist. Even though Zobrist has 83, just the fact that this Pedroia has, great defense, good vision, a little bit of pop, not a ton of pop, but I just felt like number 9 was the right spot for him. And coming in at number 8 is the cheese machine himself, and that is Mr. Dee Gordon, the 84 overall. And, a lot of people may be like, man, there's a silver on this list. I'm telling you, that's just how bad second base is right now. And, I even think this card is better than a few golds. I think he's better than the 2 I've already mentioned. I think he's better than the 88 Roberto Alomar. This is a good card. He gets on base at a high clip, good contact, good vision, no power at all. but he has really good defense. His arm is kind of a noodle, but if you play him at second and not shortstop, that doesn't, I don't know, it's really not going to hurt you that much, and that 98 speed really helps on defense too, and he is just an absolute terror on the base pass, guys. He, you know, a single for him, if your opponent doesn't really know how to hold guys on and, you know, throw runners out and stuff, it's like an automatic triple. And even if he does, a lot of times it can be an automatic triple. This guy is a game changer. And if you can manage to get him on base, I know that lack of power might scare a lot of people, because whenever you have power that low, it honestly feels like you're swinging a twig sometimes. But if you can keep the ball on the ground and hit hard ground balls, and, you know, little line drive shots into the outfield, this card is going to be an amazing leadoff hitter for you. Coming in at number 7, I believe, is the 87 Jason Kipnis. And this card was really, really tough to place, because he really is a guy that is kind of 5-toolish, but he doesn't have, like, he doesn't stand out in any particular way. Like, against righties, he has good contact, good power. Against lefties, he's not as good. He might be a guy that you might want to think about platooning. His defense is just okay. Really, it's probably below average. And he has 76 speed with 42 stealing. He's a guy that may be okay on the base pass for you. But just the overall package, the fact that he can do everything pretty well, but nothing great, it just, I don't know. I think you might get like a little more utility out of this guy than you might the previous 3 that I mentioned, even though, you know, like Dee Gordon certainly has an argument to be above him. But, you know, whenever this card gets really good is whenever he has days where he's playing up, and maybe whenever he's playing up, it gives a boost to his contact and power versus lefties to make him even more of a balanced player. Or, you know, maybe even give him a boost to his contact and power versus righties to make him a stud versus righties. You know, so it's give and take with him, but I don't know. This was probably the toughest card to place on the list, to be honest. Oh, guys, and before I go any further, I'm just going to say that I'm not going to put 2 of the same card on a list either. I know that that's kind of a weird rule, but it just feels kind of odd to put, you know, 3 Ian Kinslers on the same list. I don't know. It just feels kind of weird. So I'm limiting, if like a guy gets 1 card on a list, then his other cards are like null and void. You know, and that's only with each individual list. You know, I put the 92 Miggy on the last list. That doesn't mean that he's ineligible for the third baseman list. It just means he would have been ineligible if he would have had another first base card that I could have used. Coming in at number 6 is the 85 overall DJ LeMahieu. And this guy is purely on here because he is just an on-base machine. He has 90 contact, 93 contact, not a ton of power, but he's not like completely devoid of power either. He can hit, you know, he has what they like to call gap power. He'll hit a lot of doubles for you. He has good vision. His PCI is going to be huge for you. And he has good defense too. He's not like, he doesn't have the best reaction, so he's not going to get to a lot of balls that guys with higher reaction may get to, but whenever he gets there, he's going to be quite reliable for you. And at second base, you know, like I said, arm strength doesn't matter a ton. So, yeah, I think overall this guy is a really, really solid card. And if you're stuck with DJ LeMahieu, you know, at second or whatever, I think you're going to be in good shape. I think this is a very, very solid card, but he just misses out on the top 5. Coming in at number 5 is the 94 overall Brandon Phillips, and this card definitely deserves top 5. This card is amazing. This is one of my favorite cards, maybe in the game. Yeah, he's just a guy that I love, and it might be because I like Brandon Phillips as a person, but really, even though I don't know if I like him as a person, I just think he's kind of funny or whatever. But even, you know, with all that being said, like, this card is still great. He has great contact, just kind of like the LeMahieu, you know, he's going to be an on-base machine. And he has that power edge, too. He has that above 50 power threshold where he can really, if he gets a hold of a ball, it's going to go, you know, a long way. but you really have to square it up to really tap into that power. But it's there. It's there. You just kind of have to unlock it. Defensively, this guy is a monster. 89 fielding with 83 reaction, and a decent arm for second base. This is one of the best defensive second basemen that's come out so far, especially when you take into account that 76 speed, which is going to help you even that much more on defense, and it helps you a little on the base pass too. You know, maybe every now and then you can stretch one of those doubles into a triple because of that 76 speed. So yeah, Brandon Phillips definitely deserves a spot in the top 5. Coming in at number 4 is just an absolute monster, and that is the 88 overall Daniel Murphy, one of the best gold cards in the game in my opinion. Against righties, he is just an absolute stud. He has incredible vision too, doesn't strike out. You're going to have a big PCI. Against lefties, he is serviceable, 78 contact, 58 power, that's fine. Defensively, he's not that great. That's always kind of been his downside, you know, but he's actually, I think people kind of undersell, like they just like to imagine that he is just awful on defense, but the 74 reaction is good enough to where he'll get pretty good jumps on balls, and he'll get to a lot of stuff that other guys wouldn't. And the only thing is he can be sort of unreliable. You know, with the 67 fielding, he will, you know, botch a ball every now and then, but you're not getting this card for the defense. You're purely getting this card for the amazing offensive threat that he poses. Definitely a guy that I think could be like a beast on a semi-budget squad. You know, I like to think that a budget squad, like a true budget squad, is like mostly silvers and maybe a couple gold sprinkled in. A semi-budget squad is where you have like all golds, but you can't really afford like all the diamonds and everything. So this is like a semi-budget beast. But even if you're not running a budget squad, I honestly, I think that you can't really go wrong with this card. Like, I think even on a beast squad, this guy is one of the best second basemen in the game. Coming in at number 3 is going to be a bit of a controversial pick, and I honestly kind of wanted to put him even lower, and that's the 97 Jose Altuve. And don't get me wrong, this card is good. This card is very, very good. He's an on-base machine. He has good contact, good vision. He has amazing speed. He has amazing defense. He has all those things. That's great. A couple things going against him, though. One is I think SDS kind of undersells his power. I think 49.56 is kind of ridiculous for a guy that's done what he's done over the past couple of years. I think his power should probably be in the mid-60s, and if it were, I think I'd probably put him number 1. But the biggest knock against him, to me, is his height. You know, I said I knocked Pedroia a little bit because he's 5'9". I'm knocking this Jose Altuve even more because he's 5'6", and if you use strike zone camera, it is very, very difficult to be able to square up a ball with him. He's just not, I don't know. It's really tough. But with all that, you know, all those factors in there, this card is still just a monster. I mean, if you can put the bat on the ball and keep it on the ground with a 93 speed, he has a chance of beating it out. He's going to hit a ton of line drives for you, tons of doubles, tons of triples. As long as you're good with the PCI with short guys, this guy is probably the way to go. But if you're like me and you struggle with guys like that, you probably want to look elsewhere. Coming in at number 2 is the 97 Kinsler, and I had a bit of a debate with myself, like, do I put the 97, do I put the 93? The live series version was kind of out of it, but I decided to put the 97 version because he's better against righties, and I think that that's more valuable than being better against lefties. And so yeah, you know, this card is great. He has good speed, and he honestly, he seems faster than the 78 speed would indicate. And with the 82 stealing, I've stolen a lot of bases with this guy, pretty efficiently too, at a pretty high clip. I don't know exactly what my numbers are, but he's got speed on the base paths. He's got great vision. great contact versus righties. Your PCI is going to be enormous. Against lefties, he's no slouch. You know, he has those weird reverse splits, but 70, 72 with 91 vision is plenty to get the job done. Defensively, he's not terrific. He's just okay. But yeah, I think that this guy has an argument for number one. The next guy, it's almost kind of biased that I put the number one guy, but I honestly, just for me personally, he plays the best out of all these guys for me, and that is the live series Cano. And you know, I don't know, a lot of people aren't gonna like this pick. I just kind of have that gut feeling. But against righties, this guy is a legend, man. Like, this guy is a monster. I can't wait until they come out with a flashback version of this guy, because just like last year, he'll be a monster. He'll probably be the number one second baseman on my list, unless they come out with like some crazy legends or something. You know, against lefties, he's not great. 69, 58, that's not great. But I've honestly had a lot of success with him lefty on lefty. He's not bad against lefties. I think he kind of plays up, maybe because of the 82 vision, but against righties, this guy is just going to be hitting bombs. He's going to be hitting doubles for you all day. You know, one downside to him is he only has 44 speed, and for a second baseman, you know, maybe you want to be getting guys that are a little bit faster. And you know, the big selling factor for me was his defense. And you look at his defense and you'll be like, okay, he has a strong arm, but you said arm strength doesn't really matter, and his fielding is only 79, 70. And with 44 speed, you would think that that's not very good. You know, I'll admit his numbers aren't the best, but and you know, I've heard a lot of people say that it almost feels like he plays below those numbers for them. Like, he'll make errors a lot and stuff like that. My personal experience with him is he has been locked down at second base. He turns double plays like a madman. He gets to a ton of balls. I don't know what it is about him, but he just plays really, really, really well out in the field for me. Combine that with his amazing hitting, and I think I'm pretty justified in putting him at the number one spot. Even though other guys, you know, even though Altuve has an argument, I even think Murphy has an argument, Kinsler has an argument. This guy is the one that plays the best for me. It's one of those guys that his numbers may not, you know, flesh it out or whatever, but he just always plays above the rim for me. So yeah, that's why I put him at number one. Anyways, guys, that is going to do it. Feel free to leave me some comments with suggestions, you know, telling me what you think about all this. I'm going to try to get a video out later today, but YouTube has been like crazy slow to upload a video. Last night, I put out a video at like 9 o'clock. I had started uploading that video at like 2:30 in the afternoon, and it just took forever for it to go through, and I don't really know why. I don't know if YouTube is having like server problems. That'd be kind of ironic, wouldn't it, if YouTube had server problems just like SDS? But yeah, I'm gonna try to get a head-to-head seasons video out. But depending on how long this takes and how long that takes, I may just like put it in the upload queue and sunset the video to come out tomorrow morning. I'm not sure, but you can be hopeful that there will be a video, but don't, like, you know, be counting on it, because there's a good chance that there won't be a ranked seasons video today, that it'll have to be tomorrow. But anyways, guys, with all that being said, I love you guys. I just hit 600 subscribers. That's fucking amazing. You guys are lit. We're less than 400 away from giving away that sweet ass Hosmer jersey. If you want that, like, subscribe, and retweet this video. Go to my Twitter at USMBaseball1, and I will see you guys later. Peace.